This is Sincere, a Teacher Sincere's channel, and welcome once again. All right, well, it's been a couple of weeks. I'm back again, and I'm going to talk about 3 books that I recently read, 2 light reads, and one that wasn't so much of a light read, okay? For the rest of this year, I plan to mostly focus on African-American, Palestinian writers and a few classics. I used to read a lot more than I do now because I'm busy. Most of my time is taken up with teaching, so I don't get to read the way I would like to, and I am a massive bookworm. I love reading. I adore reading. I feel like if you cannot travel where you want to go, read, okay? And of course, you can't go back in time. I'm a history lover, so the reading, I can travel through time with the reading, okay? So, but yeah, so this is, welcome to my channel if you're new. And I noticed that I finally have reached a little milestone, a little tiny milestone. Yesterday I saw that I had gone up to 450 subscribers. So, and I don't make regular videos. I just do whenever I can, okay? So, the first book I want to talk about, I do not have a copy, but it is the first book by British writer Georgette Heyer that I ever read, and the book was called The Corinthian. Okay. And Georgette Heyer was a British writer. Okay. And she, her area of expertise, the genre that she wrote in were Regency novels and detective novels. And I would love to run across her detective novels because mostly all I've ever seen are her Regency romances. Okay. So, at the library, I used to see her name a lot, and I used to, and I never would pick up her book. I don't know why, but I would see her a lot. I would see books by her, books by Cecilia Holland. And it's just, and I never would check them out. I was so much at that time into reading books by Jean Platty. I guess that's why I didn't pay any attention to them. But I decided to read. I was curious about Georgette Heyer's books because on the Libby Library app, they have a number of her books listed, and the title that really stuck out to me was The Corinthian. And when I saw The Corinthian, I was like, what is this about? So it turns out The Corinthian is not about inhabitant of Corinth in Greece. It's actually set in England. It's a Regency romance, but it's more of a comedy. And The Corinthian, I found out, I remember I was reading at the beginning, it was said, and a Corinthian walked into the room, okay? And I said, a Corinthian? What do you mean by a Corinthian? Corinthian in this case is not a native of Corinth, Greece. I've been to Corinth, Greece. But a Corinthian, in old British terminology, was a very stylish man, okay? A man who was very stylish, like they used to say foppish, a dandy, basically a dandy. Now, not necessarily gay, but a dandy, and very much into fashion. And the Corinthian in this novel is Sir Richard Wenham. Okay, Sir Richard Wenham. Sir Richard is around about 28, 29 years old. He's single, and all he cares about is fashion mostly. He's super rich, very rich, and his mother and his older sister wants him to settle down and get married. Okay. He's not interested because he figures that all the women, all they care about him is not for himself, but for his money. Okay. So he is hesitant to marry anybody. So he spends most of his time worrying about what his outfits are going to look like, his clothing's going to look like. He's also quite good. Apparently, they sort of allude to it a little bit. He's good at boxing. He may seem like, oh, this guy couldn't beat anybody up, but he can. Okay. So Sir Richard, his mother and his sister, his bossy sister and his bossy mother, have already picked out a woman for him, that he doesn't really want. Her family is in financial trouble. They were sort of formerly rich, but they kind of lost out. And she's a cold fish. He doesn't want to marry this woman, but he goes ahead and courts her anyway. And then when he's on his way after courting her, he already knew of her. He runs across what appears to be a young boy coming out of a window by a sheet, trying to escape. And so thus begins Sir Richard's adventure with who appears to be a young boy, but actually is a wealthy young woman, an heiress named Penelope Creed. And Penelope Creed is trying to escape a marriage that she doesn't want to be in. She's not in a marriage yet, but she's already been forced into an arranged marriage by her aunt, and she is trying to escape. She has in mind who she wants to marry, and she's trying to get away. And so Sir Richard runs across her. He's a little drunk at the time, sort of staggering down the street, and he sees her like, who's this person, this boy coming out of this window? So yeah, the book is actually, it's more of a comedy, sort of, I wouldn't say slapstick, but it's a comedy more than a romance. And I really enjoyed The Corinthian. A Corinthian, like I say, is very fashionable. I think a famous Corinthian in history was Beau Brummel, or Beau Brummel in England, lived in the early 1800s. And Beau Brummel was very fashionable type, and there was a movie made about him in Hollywood with Stuart Granger years ago. So yeah, so this book was really, I really enjoyed the book. It was really funny. It was really a big change after reading The Red Terror in Russia. I did a previous video about the Red Terror in Russia, so if you look down my timeline, my collection, you'll see I did one on the Red Terror in Russia. And so yeah, this was a big change from that. I could just actually hear the voices, because when I was younger, I really enjoyed watching British dramas and comedy. I liked, I would look at Fawlty Towers sometimes, and I love British, historical British dramas. So I really enjoyed The Corinthian. I think I gave it 4 stars. But reading it, I'm like, I'm going to read more of Georgette Heyer. She's a great light read, and I hope I can run across some of her detective novels. The Libby app, for the library app, the Libby app has a good number of her books, and there are others that I am, interested in reading, like Thoreau's Daughter, and there are others. So yeah, she is definitely on my list. Georgette Heyer as a escape from the much more difficult readings that I did. All right. The next light read I read was a continuation of the Oku series. I've been reading the Oku manga series now for 4 years. Okay. I should have long ago finished it. I just finished up recently book 15. Okay. In all, there are 17, I think 19 books in all. So I have about 2 more to go. This is 15. I have maybe 2 more to go, up to 5 maybe. Okay, the Oku series. And the Oku series is more for, I would say, 18 and up, not young children. And it is set in Edo, Japan, in the 1600s. It starts out in the 1600s. And what happens in Japan is there is a plague called the red-faced pox, okay? And it only kills young men, okay? So after so many of the young male population got wiped out, the Japanese have to restructure society. So the rulers of the society become women. Japan becomes a matriarchal society. And so this is now, I started in the 1600s. By now, this is 1800s. And the Japanese are trying to decide whether to get out of their isolationism and to let the Americans in. They're trying to decide. So this is book 17. And I just absolutely love the Oku series. When I started reading it, when I first started reading it, I read it on Kindle, and I decided I loved the artwork so much in it that I wanted to have my own copies, okay? So far, I'll show you how many I've got, okay? I don't have all 15, but I have this many, starting at, I think, number 5. I have this many, okay? I got all of them used. Some of them still have the library sticker on them. All of them like new and used, okay? So these are what I have of the Oku collection. And I just love Oku. My only problem with it is that a lot of the characters sort of look alike. They start looking alike after a while. And but they do have, they started putting like a family tree. They've got this family tree here, sort of explaining going all the way back to the 1600s. They put a family tree, and basically the main characters are different time periods. There are women. The women are the shoguns. The shoguns were the chief military leaders in Japan. Okay, they were apparently higher than the emperor, okay? And so every novel focuses on one, or maybe twice it might be on, or might be about one shogun over about 2 or 3 volumes, okay? So this is one, and by now they've gotten into the 1800s. They pretty much gotten they've got the plague under control, but still the women, it's still a matriarchal society. The women are still running the show in the society, but you see more men now, whereas before it was mostly just women, and you had the politics of the shogun's palace. The female shogun would they would have a harem of the best looking men. Some of them would be married. Some of them would marry actually some of their actual their concubines. So the men they flipped roles. The men became the concubines. They would find the most handsome. They want the most handsome, the most intelligent men to be the concubines of the shogun. And then some of the shoguns actually had consorts, and some had consorts, husbands, along with the concubine. Okay, so they, like I said, it became a matriarchal society. So, but like I said, some of the artwork is very very interesting, very beautiful. The books actually go, let's see, the direction. You don't read it this way. This is the back, actually. You read it going this way and going from left to right. Okay, so when you read it, you don't go from how you would normally read in a regular, it's in English, of course, but how you would normally read in an all English language book in origin, from left to right. You read from right to left like you would in like you would do in Arabic. So yeah, so this is some of the artwork is absolutely amazing. I'd have to go through and look at it, but yeah, I love historical manga. I love historical manga. I read, and I also like literary manga. I wanted to try some dystopian manga because I had one student, he read, I think it was called Akira or something. He told me about it's dystopian. It seems really interesting. But I'm a big fan of manga because we didn't have that when I was a young person. I'm 63 years old. We didn't have it. The closest I got to a graphic novel or manga was, there were little, you could buy like these little books for Charlie Brown. The little, I bought a few of them, or my dad got them for me because I didn't buy them. They were little, like little novels, and they had the comic strip for Charlie Brown. I was a big lover of Charlie Brown and the Archie. Okay, and Archie also had the little digest. I actually have an Archie digest. So yeah, so Oku, I'm hoping that I can finish it up. I have to try to, when I buy one and then I forget about Oku, and like I said, I've been reading Oku now for 4 years. So it's time to wrap it up. It's past time to wrap it up, okay? The next book I read was not the light read in the group. I had the 2 light reads, the Corinthian and Oku, the Inner Chambers. This one is Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. Okay, he has another book out. I think he writes about Palestine. So this was like his first bestseller. And this was quite popular, I think, during when Obama was the president, particularly during the Black Lives Matters time. I refused to read. At that time, I refused to read it. And, because I'm always skeptical when it's all this brouhaha and all this. If everybody's jumping on it, everybody is popular, I tend to gravitate away from it. So I did not read it at the time, and I was skeptical, and I said, I don't know, I think it's overhyped. But I actually like Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. It's a short book, and it's basically a long letter that he wrote to his son, his growing son, about racism, what you come up against as a black male living in the United States, okay? And the book is written on a poetic level. It's not just straight prose. It's quite poetic how he wrote it. He just sort of writes like train of thought, and it's just, yeah, and I think I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Okay, I really enjoyed it, and I am open to reading his more recent book that just came out. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised that Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me was not overhyped. It actually is a good book. They have on it that Toni Morrison, the Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison, recommended. She says they have this is required reading. So yeah, this year, the rest of the year, like I said, I plan to focus on reading African American writers and Palestinian writers. So yeah, that's Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. Also at this time, I'm still trying to wrap up City of God by St. Augustine. I have not been reading it recently because I have maybe like 180 pages, but I have not been reading it recently because I am trying to read. This was a library book, and I'm trying to also read 2 other library books. The library books that I'm going to read, and I showed them in the previous video when I did like a little library book haul, is George S. Schuyler's Black Empire. I'm in the middle of Black Empire, and I enjoy it. Okay, this is Afrofuturism. First time I've ever read any Afrofuturism, and this is wild. It's about, it is narrated by, his name is Carl Slater, I believe. The narrator is Carl Slater. Am I right? Is it Carl Slater? Let me look. Is it Carl Slater? I think I am. Sometimes I get my characters mixed up and I forget them. But his last name, Mr. Slater. I know I'm getting it right. But the main character, the narrator, is Carl Slater. And he meets Dr. Balcetis. Dr. Balcetis wants to start a worldwide revolution to end racism, white supremacy. Okay? And so he has a big master plan, and Mr. Slater is given an offer that he cannot refuse to join up with the revolution. So this is Black Empire. Dr. Balcetis is a very clever, how would you say, you can see him as maybe a villain, but also depending on how you look at it, you might say him as a great guy, okay? But yeah, he's a ruthless guy though, ruthless. He reminds me, I wonder did Ian, I have to wonder, reading this, did Ian Fleming get his idea for the James Bond villains from Georgette Schuyler? Have to wonder. Reading this, I really have to wonder, did Ian Fleming get his ideas from Georgette Slater, the African-American writer? Very possible. I would not doubt it. Okay. And then I'm halfway through it, and then I have another one of Schuyler's books, Black No More. Okay. This one is the one I have to finish these up. They're due in the library but 2 weeks for the next 2 weeks, but I'm going to try to see can I read them in time so I don't have to go back and renew them. Looks like nobody has read the copies of them. They look completely new. The copies look completely new. But I'm looking at my time, trying to make sure I'm eyeing my time. But yeah, these are basically the books that I've been reading here lately. But yeah, so the reading life is going okay. And as a bookworm, as a reader, as a bibliophile, I always encourage people to read. My favorite, I would say within my top 10 and certainly my top 5 websites is Internet Archive or archive.org or archive.org. I love it. But yeah, but my channel, I'm not a great speaker. I'm sorry for not being a great speaker. That's just not my forte. I feel like I'm better at putting words on paper than speaking. But my channel, I want it to be an intellectual channel. That is the goal of it. I want people, I can't do it on a regular basis, my channel, but when you come here, I hope it's something that you will find that you can take away and be encouraged to do something new. Okay. Something out of the ordinary. Read different stuff. Read. Okay. All right. So I'm going to end here. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new, and welcome to my 2 or 3 new subscribers. So I'm going to end here. So this is Sincere. Until next time.